friend once told me that there were supposed to be 4 new evolutions for Eevee in Pokemon Gold and Silver. The 2 that are already in the game are Espeon, a Psychic type, and Umbreon, a Dark type. The other 2 that were dropped from the game were Poison and Ghost types. At first, I wasn't convinced this was true, so I decided to see for myself by trying a beta version of Pokemon Gold. The beta ROM was hard to find, mainly because most of the ROMs were either normal, ergo not beta, were in the Japanese language, or just didn't work. When I finally found a working ROM, I loaded it up to search for the new Eevee evolutions. I wasn't quite sure what to do to get an Eevee to evolve into the Poison type or Ghost type. So I just played the game normally and figured I would find out at some point. My playthrough was fairly normal. I eventually ended up beating the Elite Four and pretty soon all of Kanto. The game was pretty much the same, other than a few different locations, dialogue, etc. Oh, and also, Dunsparce didn't seem to appear. But I won't really complain about that too much, since I didn't really like Dunsparce anyway. Although, by the time that I beat the game, I still hadn't figured out how to evolve my Eevee. I tried leveling it up at night, I tried leveling it up in the daytime. I did it in caves, I did it outside, etc. After hours and hours of trying, I finally said enough was enough and decided to find the evolutions the easy way. By cheating. I tried to use GameShark codes at first, but most of them did nothing at all. So I decided to ask for help online. And I found someone on Newgrounds who said he could work on a code that should give me all of the items. After a few days, he finally messaged me back and sent me a code that I could put into my GameShark. So I did. I put the code into my GameShark and loaded up the beta ROM, and sure enough, the code gave me every item in the game. I looked through the items, and at first, I saw that everything was the same. That was until I spotted a new item called Toxic Stone. I knew this was the item I was looking for. I selected the item and used it on my Eevee, and nothing. Nothing happened. The game simply told me it has no effect. I tried it over and over again, but nothing. Nothing happened. It didn't work. I was pissed. Beyond pissed. Was this all I got after I went through everything in this damn game? There had to be something that I was doing wrong. So as a last-ditch effort, I thought that maybe the NPCs could help me out. For a while, I got the typical text responses from NPCs, like, "Man, that Team Rocket sure is persistent," or, "I love my Jigglypuff," or, "Have you visited the radio tower in the Kanto region?" But then, out of all the basic NPC text, one NPC told me something that stood out. "Did you know there's a stone that can evolve a Pokemon after it's fainted?" This was where I went wrong. I had to use the Toxic Stone on my Eevee after it fainted. At least, that's what I hoped it would do. It didn't take long for my Eevee to be defeated, especially since it was around level 40 and I was wandering in a level 60 area. After it was defeated, I went into my bag and used the stone on my fainted Eevee. "What's this? Eevee is evolving." Yes, 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 finally! Eevee has evolved into Zombreon. This was not what I was expecting. Zombreon looked exactly like a normal Eevee. However, its color scheme was green instead of the usual brown color. And parts of it were also missing. Another thing to note was, its cry was just a lower version of the typical Eevee cry. One last thing that I noticed was, once it evolved, it learned a new attack. The attack was called Zombite. Though despite the minor differences, I was still rather annoyed. This was all I worked for? Just a recolored Eevee? I mean, come on! After calming down a bit, I decided to test it out in the tall grass near New Barktown. A wild Sentret appeared, and I threw out Zombreon. I figured it would be pointless to try and use a move that I've used a million times with my Eevee, like Tackle or Flash. So, I opted for the new Zombite move instead. The attack animation was odd, to say the least. It looked just like regular bite, but with two poison symbols flashing near the teeth. What was strange about the attack also was the attack was a one-hit KO move, according to the text box. Even stranger was that the game asked me if I would like to nickname Sentret, and it told me Sentret was sent to the PC. I didn't use a Pokeball, so why did the game say that I caught the Sentret? I rushed over to the PC and checked for the Sentret, and sure enough, it was there, but it wasn't a normal Sentret anymore. Its color scheme was also now green. It had changed to a poison type. and it now knew the move Zombite. Wait. I know what's going on here. Every time I use the attack Zombite, which I figured would obviously mean Zombie Bite, the enemy Pokemon will get infected and would end up joining my team. I mean, this was pretty obvious, considering the name Zombreon was basically just a combination of zombie and Eon. But then I wondered, what would happen if... What would happen if I infected a trainer's Pokemon? I used Fly to go to one of the routes in Kanto that I skipped most of, and ran into a trainer. The battle started, and the opposing trainer threw out a Kadabra, and I immediately chose Zombite as Zombreon's first move. Just like with the Sentret, it was a one-hit KO move, as expected. However, what wasn't expected was that, rather than throwing out the next Pokemon, the battle ended. And the opposing trainer just came over to me and said, What did you do to my Pokemon? The battle was won, and I received the EXP and money. After the battle was over, the trainer was simply gone. Just gone. In fact, none of the other trainers were there anymore either. This began to creep me out a little. I walked around the area to look for another trainer, but I found nothing. So I opted to walk into the grass. And when I did, a wild Kadabra appeared. Although, this wasn't a normal Kadabra. It was green and zombie-like, like the Sentret was. And I didn't even have to fight it. It just lost all of its health. And the game told me that I caught it. I began to get a little creeped out from this, so I began to head back into town when another wild Pokemon appeared. It was a Raticate. A normal-looking Raticate. I didn't want to fight it, so I pressed run. It didn't work. Instead, the game told me, Zombreon is staring at the foe hungrily. Then the Raticate attacked Zombreon with Bite. But after the attack animation played, the game said, Zombreon countered the attack with Zombite. And the Zombite animation played, causing the Raticate to lose all of its HP and join my team. I wanted to get out of this area immediately, so I went into my team to use Fly. I wasn't expecting what I saw. All of my Pokemon were now green and zombified. And all of them now knew the move Zombite. I made my Lugia use Fly and take me to Saffron City, and when I got there, all the NPCs were there, which helped me to relax a little bit. I decided to go into the Pokemon Center to check the PC. And when I did, the game let out an ear-splitting beep that honestly made me jump a little. In front of the center's counter was the trainer with the Kadabra that I defeated earlier. A text box came up.
That's him! That's the man that hurt my Kadabra!
Then the trainer ran to the corner of the Pokemon Center. A man sitting on one of the seats walked up to me and said,
"Don't worry, I'll stop him."
Then I was forced to battle him. He sent out an Arcanine, and I sent out Zombreon. I tried to use Tackle, and it worked. I thought that would be the end of it, but after the animation finished, the game said,
"Zombreon used Tackle, followed by Zombite."
The battle ended. And when the game went back to the Pokemon Center, a green version of the Arcanine sprite stood next to the man.
What happened to my Arcanine? What are you?
The man said before running out of the Pokemon Center. The Arcanine walked up to me, and the game told me that Arcanine was sent to the PC box after joining my team. And the Arcanine disappeared as the text box disappeared. This was starting to get even more creepy and bizarre. I tried talking to the trainer in the corner, but all he would say was,
"Please, no more."
I tried talking to Nurse Joy, but all she would say was,
"Get out of my Pokemon Center."
I checked the PC and sure enough, I had zombie versions of all the Pokemon from earlier. When I backed out of the PC, I noticed a new option on the PC screen called
Release all.
I tried pressing it, but it simply told me,
"Not enough Zom Pokemon."
darn. I walked out of the center and almost instantly the speakers of my computer were filled with a loud barrage of high and low pitched beeps, and all of the NPCs outside of the Pokemon Center ran towards the exits of the city. I tried talking to one of them, but they were moving too fast to do anything. When I walked out of the town, there were no trainers around. Not wanting to fear the worst, I figured that they must have went to a different town. That's it, right? I mean, that had to be it. I would go to a different town, and everything would be normal. So, I made my Lugia fly me to Goldenrod City. When I landed there weren't any NPCs here either. Even the background music wasn't playing, it was just dead empty and dead silent. I tried walking into a building, but the game simply told me,
"The door's locked."
I tried a few other buildings, but those were locked too. So I tried the Pokemon Center. Thank goodness the door opened as usual. I went inside and saw that nobody was inside of it. However, I did spot something new. There was what appeared to be a radio on the counter. When I interacted with it, a text box came up.
Beware of strange Pokemon. Trainers from the Kanto region have been reporting strange green Pokemon attacking and infected other Pokemon and trainers. Remain indoors and avoid all contact with strange Pokemon and people.
Followed by another text box saying,
I'm so lonely.
I figured there was nothing to do down here, so I walked to the second floor. On the second floor, there were a bunch of NPCs, standing still facing the stairs. When I got to the top of the stairs, a loud beep played, and another text box popped up saying,
Get out of here! You aren't normal!
A trainer standing in front of the crowd ran up to me, and a battle started. The opposing trainer sent out a Ditto, and I, of course, sent out Zombreon. I tried using Flash, but instead, the game said that
Zombreon spat poison at Ditto.
And just like that, the Ditto was defeated and the battle was over. After the battle, the man backed up into the crowd. Suddenly, Zombreon, the sprite of Zombreon, walked out in front of me, and the game said,
Zombreon cannot wait any longer.
And Zombreon ran into the crowd, touching every trainer and every Pokemon in its path. Each time it touched Pokemon, they would turn green, and well, every time it touched a trainer, the game would let out a loud beep, and the trainer sprite would disappear. Once all the trainers were gone, and all the Pokemon were infected, a text box said,
Jigglypuff, Abra, Ditto, and Clefairy were sent to the PC.
Then the Pokemon disappeared. Just then, I remembered that the trainer from earlier said that I wasn't normal. So, on a whim, I checked my trainer card. I wasn't sure if what I felt was shock, fear, or if I wasn't surprised at all, to be honest, because sure enough, my trainer was zombified too. I started to feel sick. Would Game Freak really do something like this? I shook off the feeling and tried to fly to a different town. But this time, the game told me,
Lugia is too weak to fly.
Great. I went back inside the center to get a new flying Pokemon from the PC. But when I looked inside, I saw that all of the Pokemon in the PC were infected. Even the ones that weren't infected by Zombite when I caught them. I tried taking out my Pidgeotto, but pressing the withdraw button would just play another buzzing sound that would usually only play when you aren't allowed to do something. I couldn't even move Pokemon either, so there was only one thing left to do. Or rather, there was only one option left that I could choose. I saved the game first and went back into the PC and pressed the Release All button. The game asked me,
"Would you like to release all Zom Pokemon? Yes, no."
Gulping in hesitation, I hit yes.
All Zom Pokemon have been released.
I went back and checked the box, and now all of my Pokemon in the PC were gone. I was confused. What was the purpose of an option like this? I closed out of the PC and walked outside the Pokemon Center. And I got quite the shock. Parts of buildings in the city were on fire. Windows were boarded up, and NPCs were running to and fro from green Pokemon. I couldn't interact with the Pokemon or the trainers, so I decided to walk out of town. The area outside of town was similar, in a way. Some of the trees were on fire, and there were gray particles moving in front of the screen, which made it look like the screen was all smoky. Walking into the tall grass didn't cause any wild Pokemon to appear. But I could talk to the small amounts of NPCs that were still standing around. They would say things like,
"I had to hit my poor Pikachu with a stick. He just wouldn't stop trying to bite me. Who started this? I want this all to end. I just want to go home to my family."
I eventually walked to Violet City, then to Cherry Grove City, and finally back to New Barktown. This was the only place that was normal. Well, sort of. The trainers that walked around outside the buildings weren't there anymore. I went inside the laboratory to see if it was empty too. To my surprise, it wasn't. Inside was a single professor. Once I took a step forward, an exclamation point appeared above his head, and he walked right up to me.
"I finally finished it. A gene that protects my Pokemon from that poison stuff that's caused all the Pokemon to turn strange. This is where it all began, and this is where it will all end,"
he said as a battle soon started. The game said that
Professor Elm would like to battle.
he sat on a level 86 for Alligator, and I threw out Zombreon. I knew that Zombreon was too weak to handle this fight, so I switched to Lugia instead. when I tried to use any other attack that wasn't Zombite, Lugia would just end up using it anyway. And when Lugia did, a text box would pop up saying,
"It has no effect on Feraligatr."
After this, the opposing Feraligatr used an attack called Cure. That was super effective and defeated Lugia right away. My next Pokemon was my Typhlosion. But the battle was almost the same as it went for Lugia. I tried using Flamethrower, but instead Typhlosion used Zombite and was instantly defeated by Cure. The battle went on like this until I got to Zombreon. I pressed Zombite because at this point, I knew what was coming. It didn't work, and Feraligatr used Cure. Zombreon was brought down to 1 HP. The game said,
"Zombreon refuses to give up. Zombreon, you struggle."
Feraligatr was instantly defeated, and Zombreon was defeated too by the recoil, ending the battle in a draw. Professor Elm came up to me and said,
"No, no, no!"
And the battle ended. After the battle, Elm took a step back and said,
I lost. It's over. It's all over. I want to end this pointless game right now!"
and ran out of the lab. After a few seconds, a text box said,
"You heard a loud bang in the distance."
I think I know what that meant. I went outside, and another text box came up.
Why did this have to happen?
I didn't understand who said this, especially since there was nobody around. I thought that maybe someone was in my character's house, so I headed in there. Inside was my mom. She was sitting on a chair in the house as usual. So I tried interacting with her. But she definitely wasn't doing anything usual.
It's Mom. She's not moving.
This text actually made me feel a bit sad. But that feeling soon subsided as I didn't expect the screen to immediately cut to black after the text box closed. After a few seconds, the screen faded from black into the opening screen where you get to enter your character's name. But my character just stood there as the text box below said,
All of this is my fault. All those people, those poor, innocent people. Professor Elm, my mom, Evie. But
my character slowly turned and glared at the screen for a split second before cutting to black. But I could make out the last bit of text that popped up before the screen faded.
Was it really my fault?
Then the game went straight to the credits, just like that. Nothing else was different. All the Pokemon were there as usual. Just the credits played as they normally should. And once the credits were over, the emulator froze. I tried loading it back up, but it didn't work. Now, every time, whenever I try to load the beta ROM, it doesn't work. The emulator just freezes, and then it crashes and closes out. After all of that, I realized that this was only one of the 2 evolutions for Eevee. And I can only assume that if the poison type was in gold, then the ghost type was probably in silver. I can't bring myself to imagine what would happen with this evolution of Eevee. And quite frankly, I don't want to know. Hello, my darlings. It's me, Camilla. It's been a while since you've last heard my voice, hasn't it? Well, Danny gave me the spotlight for just a moment, so that way I could tell you all, thank you so much for all of your support, and for watching this video. Not only does your support truly mean the world to Danny, but it also means the world and more to me. And speaking of support, if you want to continue to support me and Danny and the rest of the faces of this channel, Danny just launched a brand new Patreon page. They've been actively posting content on there, ranging from behind the scenes looks to unreleased early access videos and audios, as well as some Patreon exclusive content too. $3 is not only for general support, but it also gets you access to the behind the scenes content, like work in progress pieces of scripts and thumbnails, as well as full uncut audio recordings chock full of Danny's, well, bloopers. And you also get to say in on various polls that they'll be putting up in the future in regards to what videos they should work on next, what to post or upload next, what games they should stream next, etc. $6 gets you all the previous tier's benefits, but it also gets you a 4 to 7 day early access pass to all of Danny's finished thumbnail art, their completed original audio roleplays, as well as their creepypasta narrations. They've mentioned briefly to me that they won't be including audios using other people's scripts, like the ones they found on Reddit, for example. However, they did say that they would do it if they were given explicit permission by the scriptwriters first. And included in the $6 tier, Danny says that I can read your name aloud at the end of videos and audios, which I'm sure many of you would appreciate hearing my lovely voice give each of your names the spotlight they deserve. And lastly, $20 gets you all of the previous tier's special benefits, all including one very special catch. You also get access to all of Danny's Patreon exclusive content. These include audio roleplays, artwork, unreleased script ideas, and the like. Things that will never see the light of day anywhere but there. Please feel free to check out Danny's Patreon if you can. But if some of you can't afford to do Patreon, but would still like to support me and Danny and the rest of the channel with a friendly donation, we also have a Ko-Fi page. It may look barren now, but Danny's told me that she fully intends to make more use of it by winter, by opening up audio commissions. So keep your eyes open for when that particular announcement goes up. Maybe I'll be the one to give the special announcement, including all the details about that. Links for both the Patreon and the Ko-Fi will be down in the description, but they'll also be available in Danny's YouTube page's About section, as well as their Linktree page. Thank you so very much to our very first $9 patron, Polyup. You are absolutely amazing and such an adorable little sweetheart. And I know for sure that Danny appreciates your support. I know I most certainly appreciate your patronage, my dear. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching this video, and for watching this far ahead in the ending. We promise that there is more to come soon, everybody. We wish you all a wonderful day, afternoon, or night, wherever you all are in this big, beautiful world. I love you all so very much, my dearest, most precious little siblings of mine. And I hope to see you all again very soon. Bye-bye.